block, fam. That's as far as I go.
What? No.
What do you mean?
What's happening?
We were getting famlicious, I thought.
Letting Chris do the intro. What's happening in today's episode?
What is happening today? We got some HPI exhaust in after an extended wait, unfortunately. We're going to replace the TBR exhaust with this HPI exhaust. We're going to run it on the dyno. We're going to see where it lands. That's the gist of it.
What bike are we working on here?
It looks like we're working on yours. This would be the infamous Goldzilla.
Infamous, all right.
I do have to say, like many people do in comments, there's not a lot of gold on it yet.
Rude. There's plenty of gold on the wheels.
Well, there's some gold Sharpie.
We're getting there.
We got the Sharpies on it.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, and that's coming off because we're getting like a replacement front fairing. We'll get there. We'll get there.
What's going to happen with that one? Gonna hang it on the wall?
No, I'm giving it to Dave and Cindy. It was supposed to be their wedding gift.
Right.
But I need the replacement in order to take this one off to give to them so I can still ride my bike. So. So Dave and Cindy, I just put 1,000 miles going to the keys on your fairing. So thanks. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So in summary, today's episode, we're working on Goldzilla, my 2020 Harley-Davidson Softail Low Rider S. We've been running a TBR 2-to-1 shorty turnout on it for a while on a 131 cubic inch Milwaukee 8, which has a SNS 590 cam. Currently we're making, what are the power numbers? The most
150
recent?
and 151.
So I think it's 151 horse.
151
It's actually on that sign over there, Justin, zoom in.
And 150 foot-pounds.
Yeah, and then we did another run with the HPI, and I think we got a little less horsepower, but more torque, if I recall.
So we did. You're right. I forgot those numbers. We'd have to go refer to the dyno.
Yeah.
Justin, insert that, please. We're looking at 147.47 horsepower and 153 torque. So since the last time we tuned the bike, we were running 151 horsepower, 150 torque. So we actually dropped horsepower by about 3-4, and we went up in torque. And now we're going to install the horsepower ink. Dare we open the box? Still tape.
Of course, of course.
You don't have your swords. You remember that was a tradition. That kind of fell by the wayside.
Gotta have some kind of.
Got you one of those.
Oh.
A mini sword.
What about this?
Ooh, and it's gold.
Yes, a black and gold knife. People think I'm obsessed.
Then get to cutting.
I might be.
Wow. You know, I miss those days. It makes life easy.
Right.
I like when I do that shit at home and the laundry's sitting there and I'm like, wait. Done.
One of the perks you get as a Blockhead garage employee, you get the magic, snap. All right, so this is kind of how it's packaged up. It did have wrapping on the pipe here. It's got some of the hardware, and yeah, so we're gonna go ahead, unwrap, take off the TBR, get the horsepower ink pipe on here, and we're gonna see what the power numbers are. Recently, very similar comparison on the Harley-Davidson Low Rider ST. We had a Thrashin AR 2-to-1 on it. That actually made really good numbers. The horsepower ink did win of the two. And so now we're going to be doing like a nice comparison on the 131 cubic inch stage 4 with the TBR shorty 2-to-1 turnout to the HPI. Will the HPI win? Drop your guesses down in the comments below. I'm thinking probably.
Hopefully.
Right? So yeah, just to note, this episode is not sponsored by Horsepower Inc.
It is not.
I paid full price for this exhaust.
We waited a tremendous amount of time.
The back order list on this exhaust is insane.
It was 16 to 18, and all said and done, it was 27 weeks.
27. Wasn't quite 27.
So, I think it was.
Probably. Was it? No.
Well, Justin can correct me.
It was a long time.
It was a long time.
I don't know the exact time, but from whenever we put the order in to whenever we got the exhaust, it was quite the wait.
Everybody's on a wait list, including ourselves. We are not special. I'd love to say we are, but unfortunately we're not.
We do happen to have an extra one, though, which we'll probably end up selling to a customer that comes in wanting some performance, something on their Softail. So the next little part, we'll just time lapse because we've done install videos on exhaust and stuff, and you guys don't need to worry with that. Yeah, you don't need to see that. What you're interested in this episode, what you're here for, are the power numbers, right? Let's see if a horsepower ink will beat a TBR. My guesses are it will. You guys drop your, like I said, drop your guesses down below. We got an HPI badge there now, and one there.
Wow.
Wow. How was the install?
Oh, you know. Wonderful. If we have any critique, it's this one. It's always this one. You know what we went through the first time.
Right. Didn't line up so easy.
Yeah, this is just silly to me. I get it, it works, and it's probably very inexpensive for them.
but come on, y'all.
So Chris hasn't started up yet, so this is gonna be first crank with the HPI pipe that everybody and their mom has told me to get on this bike.
So do we think it's gonna be louder? Quieter?
Louder.
Louder. Think it's gonna hit harder than that one?
Wait, we're gonna say this one's louder than the
Yeah.
CBR?
Which one do we think is gonna hit harder at an idle? Because you know this is pretty loud and aggressive.
Right, yeah, it's very loud and aggressive.
So do you think this one will be louder
I guess they are about the same length, huh?
or
This
quieter?
one's straight out though, so I don't know. I don't know, louder.
Let's find out.
All right, so that was letting it burn in. Really got some nice color to it, and just like the letting it idle. So, I mean, whenever we first started up, it was just, you know, all like this color stainless, and so that front header pipe bronzed up quite a bit. Rear started to get it, especially along the welds. It'll definitely start to color a lot more, especially as we have it on the dyno. So you guys will see like the look of the exhaust, the coloring is going to totally change from here forward. So awesome things about stainless exhaust that I enjoy. Chris is going to work his dyno tuning horsepower bay magic.
We can only pull what we can pull out of it, but we'll see what we can get.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it'll do higher numbers. I don't know how much, but we'll see. Because everybody be hating on that TBR for some reason. I think it sounds good. This one sounds good too.
The TBR, the main downfall is just the shortness.
Yeah.
It's not long enough. It ends up with that lull in it. You know,
Right.
that torque dip, so.
Right there. This one's got more of like a instead of like. We'll see. Plus, this one is also a stepped pipe. Smaller, larger, larger, back down to smaller, and then same for the front. Engineering, man. Horsepower science. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
You guys want a horsepower science t-shirt? Check out our shop on the screen right there.
Boy, that accent changed real fast.
Whatever's listed for. I mean, when we were talking about horsepower science, it was the yeehaw. I dropped the yeehaw
That's
in there,
what
and
it
then all of a
was,
sudden, my Texas kicked in.
Well, as this was idling, I was riding a horse.
That's true. All right, so we'll continue. Whenever we get in the dyno room, tune it up, and show you guys a poll and the numbers.
We shall return. Here.
Just to preface this before we get into it, because I know this is...
One is we can't spin out past 165 or 158 miles an hour. So it's going to cut us off at 50, was it about 5,800, give or take. It's actually 5,750. But that's our limit. Now the horsepower number is higher than that. I'll pull up another graph that we pulled in 5th gear just to show you. But the horsepower, if we could run this out to 6,500 in 6th gear, it would be right about 152 as well. It'd be 152, 153. So it's pretty squared as far as horsepower and torque goes. Now, what we're actually comparing is pipes. I guess we could preface this by saying this is not a talking contest. We're not knocking any one individual manufacturer.
Also, we paid full price for both the exhausts.
We're not getting paid by either one of these.
Yeah.
Companies or any of the companies that we're going to do this with.
We literally just get the pipe. Everybody talks about HPI, so we wanted to put it to the test on the ST that we're giving away. It did make better power numbers as compared to the Thrashing pipe.
A little bit, yeah.
And so we figured, okay, well, let's do a comparison between another really popular pipe, HPI, on Goldzilla. It's a 131 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 with SNS 590 cam. So a couple extra things done to it, so it's not like it's a comparison for this bike for a 131. It is not a comparison on just like a normal M8 or a stage 2 M8. With all that being said, I'm really incredibly surprised at the power numbers here, especially with the price difference, because the price difference is about $1,000
Now we have 2 other pipes that we're gonna put up to the test as well.
on Goldzilla.
Might as well name them now. We're gonna put up a Sawicki. We have one of those here, and we're also gonna put up a D&D. I believe we're using the Bobcat.
Yeah.
Those are pretty fair comparisons to what we would call a mid-length pipe. These are all quote-unquote mid-length pipes, although that TBR might even have been considered short.
TBR, yeah, I feel like it was a little bit shorter.
This one, they're all considered mid-length, I do believe. The red line here is TBR. The blue line here is HPI. Has a little hiccup here, but we're not gonna knock it. That's not the tallest number. It landed at 152.91 and 147.66. So in my opinion, they're exactly the same.
I mean,
They didn't
pretty much dead nuts the same.
Here's
in the very beginning,
critique.
though.
Here's the critique. So let's forget this little bump. That's just an anomaly. If we go to the fuel tables, as a matter of fact, the TBR got real lean here. If you notice, HPI stays steady, but it still has a little hiccup. That could have been something we read in that particular run. So we're not gonna focus on this. That's not the biggest number overall, that is. The difference is right here. So at 2,500, because that's where we started this, and if we started it a little lower, I think we might even have been a little lower, because you can see TBR starts at about 130, and it never really gets under 130. HPI starts right at about 120 at 2,500 RPMs. So if anything, you're about 10 foot-pounds difference right here, from between 2,500 and almost 3,000.
So right off the bat, as soon as you get on throttle, I mean, you're feeling that. Like, that's going to be noticeable.
If you're racing, or you're going light to light, or this is quarter mile track time, there's a way to avoid that. Obviously, you could start at 3,000 and just live up there and stay out of that range. But real world riding, you actually lose a little bit with the HPI pipe down at the bottom. TBR seems to be a little more grunty in the bottom. Kind of surprised, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm incredibly surprised, like I said, especially for the price difference. It's one thing, like, if you lost, like, that real world riding, you know, spot, and then you gained it, like, a little bit more up here, but the fact that you kind of lose it here and then it stays the same up here is what surprises me the most. Because usually that's kind of how it works, is like it's a balance out, but in this case, pretty much the same. So good job to TBR, I guess. Yeah. I keep on talking about price difference because, and availability too, I guess, because right now, as of us recording this episode, we had to how long did we wait for the HPI pipe?
How many weeks? 18 total?
It was
18 total.
It was a while. I ordered this thing a long time ago. Did take a little bit. They're incredibly high demand. TBRs, on the other hand, are pretty much readily available. So if you're looking for about the same power numbers and to save a bit more money, yeah, TBR is going to get you there as well. I would really like to do this test on like a stock Milwaukee 8, like maybe just stage 1 to kind of see those numbers, because we are definitely not pushing like normal stuff through this engine. Like I was saying, 131, Milwaukee 8, 590 cams, S&S roller rockers, upper guardian kit, custom tune, all that stuff. Maybe in the future we'll do a little bit more of a baseline and put this on like more of a baseline bike. On Goldzilla, the differences between the TBR and this one, this is a third exhaust that I've had on this bike in that goal to try to get to like better power numbers. We started out with the Bassani sweepers, which Chris hated. I went with those just for the sound. And then we went with the TBR 2-to-1 just because it was going to be better than the sweepers. It did give us more power, but we thought it was robbing us a little bit. And then turns out whenever we go HPI, because it's supposed to be the absolute top of the top, because we are going for numbers with this bike to see what we can get it to naturally aspirated, we see the same numbers as the TBR as compared to the HPI. The next comparison will be with the D&D. D&D is notoriously really good for power numbers, so we're gonna put that one up next. Actually, no, not that one. We're gonna put the Sawicki on next, so you guys are gonna see that one probably in the next video, and then D&D will be last. Chris is predicting that the D&D will have the best numbers, which I would not doubt at all. But yeah, we'll see when we get there.
We will see. That's just a prediction.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say also to anybody wondering, if you notice, our humidity is damn near the same. No, these were not pulled on the same day. As a matter of fact, if you look at the dates, one was pulled in October of last year, one was pulled in January of this year. This is considerably after January of this year. But regardless, our humidity on the original poll was 39.11, and on our second poll was 38.76. So
our humidity is pretty consistent here in Florida.
Similar air, yeah, same air, same same everything. So these are our finalized numbers. Now, I did tell you that I was gonna pull a 5th gear pull just to show you the horsepower. Run file 10 was pulled in 5th gear, and the reason I pulled it was to show you the horsepower here that you don't get to see in 6th gear. So if we ran this out, and if you notice, our torque and our horsepower both were equal. 145 torque, almost 146, and 146 horsepower. So we can just extend that out to here. So this bike should be running about 153 and 153. That's where it is. That's where it lives. That's where it's always gonna live.
There you go. Do with that information what you will. Like I said, we just do these episodes. We're not trash talking.
No
we're
shade
just,
being thrown.
No, not at all.
No shade being
The only
thrown.
thing we're doing is providing insight into what you're actually getting when you buy it with these products, and that's the comparison on a 131 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 between a Two Brothers Racing Shorty Turnout and a horsepower rank. HPI makes great products. I mean, we've got like their whole Ram Air on here, and whenever we put that on, we did see a pretty decent increase
Tremendous
in
gain.
power. Yeah,
Yep.
manifold, throttle body, and then yeah, ram cone thing. Totally honest, I was expecting a little bit of a bump, especially with like the stepped piping. Sound wise, it sounds great. I think I still kind of prefer the TBR, to be honest. But I mean, it sounds good. It does sound good. Yeah, the TBR kind of exits more like this way, you know, so it does suck for those people that are like over here, potentially riding behind me, but that's usually why I ride in the back. So anyways, guys, like we said, do with that information what you will. I will drop a link to both of these pipes down in the description
And
below.
we got 2 more to go.
Yeah, 2 more to go. So stay tuned for future exhaust comparison videos and to see what power you're going to be getting out of your purchase and all that. If you guys do want to order any of these through us, we are dealers. So go to blockheadgarage.com, fill out the form, let us know what you guys are looking for. Do me a favor, be sure to go follow Chris at Sick Wide Glide, 26-year master level technician. Coolest guy ever. Go drop some igloos on his most recent post, or snowman or snowflakes or any of that stuff, because he hates being called cool, but he's cool. So we get a little, there we go.
A little ice going on up there.
Lies. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys found this episode insightful, useful, educational, any of that stuff, do us a favor and be sure to hit the like button. Lets YouTube know that we're doing a good job. If you guys aren't subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon also, so it sends you notifications of future uploads and activity. Until next time, ride safe out there, stay vigilant. We'll catch you guys in the next one. It's so pretty. All right. Peace.